Time for another analysis. Today, we're going to be looking at the scene in the desert. So I'm going to preface this by saying that we really got mostly Will's point of view in season 4. We really didn't get to see into Mike's mind quite as much as we did Will. This is one of those scenes where they want the audience to root for Will. They're making it super obvious that he's pining for Mike. Then we see Mike give Will a triple take. Yeah, a triple take. Not a double take, triple. It almost seems like Mike realizes that he got caught. Like he intended to look over at Will when Will wasn't looking back. This triple take is really fast, but tells us a lot. Before this scene, we already know that Mike is feeling kind of conflicted about what's going on with Elle. He feels super guilty because she was taken away and he's not there with her. But now he's in a situation where he has to be around Will and figure out how to navigate that again. Then we see them have this conversation on the roof of the car where Will gives Mike advice that kind of feels like he's giving advice to himself, but also it seems to really resonate with Mike. At the end of Will's speech, he basically says, "What if they don't like the truth?" And Mike seems to take that to heart. Up until this point, we've seen that Mike isn't really sure what he was supposed to say to Eleven. He uses the phrase, "I didn't know what to say," or "I wasn't sure what to say." I don't remember what the exact words were, but it was something like that. Basically, he knew exactly what Elle wanted him to say, but he also still didn't know what to say. Mike knows what Elle wanted to hear. He just couldn't say it. So visually, we get a couple of really interesting things going on in this scene. There are a few shots at the beginning of the conversation that almost make it feel like we shouldn't be listening to this conversation. Kind of like we're spying on them, in a way. This camera technique is probably used to show us that this is a private moment for them. They're being emotionally vulnerable with each other, even though both of them seem to not be giving each other the full truth. Something else really interesting about this scene is Mike and Will tear their glances away from each other. This is actually the third time in just a couple of episodes where their conversation was interrupted. The first time was when Jonathan walked into his room and they were having a conversation about Elle being taken. The second time was in Will's room, and now this is the third time. This shows us that the conversations that they've been having, they're both heavily invested in, and they both are paying really close attention to each other.